Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Rosham Joe Paints. Today I'm going to be painting a Necron Warrior in the Sautekh Dynasty scheme, and when you're done you should have something that looks close to this. And by close to that I mean nothing like that, because other than it being a Necron, it's going to be the new Necron Warrior out of the Indomitus box. Picture up soon as to what it looks like when it's done, so that again, if you don't want to invest a full hour in watching how to paint this, God, I hope it's not an hour. My Primaris guy's going hours. This is 40 minutes, maybe 45 tops. Depends on how long I string out the intro for. All right, so let's get started. Here we have the Necron Warrior in question. The weapon I chose to assemble this one, and this one is fully assembled, no sub-assemblies here for me today, since I can get to pretty much everything on the part, and because also the Indomitus box Necron Warriors, they don't give you much to work with as far as sub-assemblies. I could have, I guess, cut these arms off and then glued them back. In fact, I may do that on some of the other ones I assemble, but we'll see. I left him with the Gauss Flare, which is the longer range, which is the, reciting from memory here, the longer range, less strength, less armor penetrate, less AP. Anyways, again, I don't play. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking up here at the screen at myself. I don't play. It looks like a lot of fun, but I haven't gotten around to it. But I have a lot of pieces. Probably one of the worst built armies ever. I don't know if it's worse, just points wise. Anyways, we're not here to discuss tactics. We're here to discuss painting. So we're going to start with Chaos Black over the whole model, and because I believe the ideal temperature to paint these at is less than 77 degrees outside, we're going to go ahead and do that anyway, because I'm not going to wait until 3 in the morning to paint. All right, let me show you real quick the Gauss Reaper though. So I painted this one up just because this is roughly what the Gauss Flare will look like. You can just see it's, move this stack over here and you can, and there you go, that's what it is. So that's roughly what we're going to end up with as far as weapon goes. Model is going to be mostly silver, Sautekh Dynasty, so it's going to be mostly silver, black icon in the middle with a highlight, maybe some green yellow eyes, and then I'm actually going to paint these shoulder blades green as well, just because it looks like it's an added piece. And whenever I get these, whenever I get these added pieces like this, I do like to give it a little bit of extra flair, just in versus just painting it completely silver. So let me go do all that, and by all that I just mean Chaos Black, and I will be back. All right, with the lead Belcher, nope, that's what we're doing now. With the Chaos Black that we have put on, that makes it really hard to see in my camera. So let's fix that and put lead Belcher everywhere. Now I'm going to be doing a heavy, just a heavy dry brush over everything, and trying to get all of the nooks and crannies and other words meant for tiny little places that paint needs to go. So this is actually more of a, not a dry brush so much as a, what do they call it? Like a wet brush? I don't know, there's a term for it, and maybe I'll look it up and put it as a little note, but there's basically a term where it's like, well, you're dry brushing, but realistically you're just hitting it with a heavy, I'm only knocking a little bit off, so you can still see like there's portions of the metal that is not getting hit because of those deeper cracks. I'm not getting in there with like a wet paint, so I am knocking a little bit of paint off, but for the most part I am, I'm going to give this a coat of lead Belcher. Now the reason, normally when I do my Necrons, and I think I even did my previous, what do you call it, the Immortal this way, I will just do a coat of lead Belcher in a dry brush, and then I will do, Runefang Steel or Necron Compound or whatever have you. However, based on, this is a new set, I am looking to do something slightly different with them. And that is just that I'm going to be, instead of using just the dry brush over the chaos black to create the finer, or the details in the crevices. I am going to be going back with a wash of probably Agrax Earthshade versus Nuln Oil to make them look a little dirtier, a little dingy, older metal if you can. If hopefully that's what I'm going for at least. And then I'm still going to dry brush on top of that the coat of, in my case, Runefang Steel, because I don't have my Necron compound dried out for a dry brush paint, but my Necron compound has dried up, and I'm out of Stormhost Silver. So I'm going to be Runefang Steel as a dry brush over that Agrax Earthshade. So anyways, quick step. If you can avoid hitting the black, go for it. If not, you can still, I'm going to be cleaning up the portions that need to be black later anyway, and there's not a lot of them. I am going to paint the back here. These, like I said, these two shoulders are going to get green, so I'm not worried about hitting those too much, but make sure you get in from behind here, get the hand, because that'll be annoying to paint later, so make sure you hit it now. That way if you do forget later, at least it's already silver and it's not just a base black. So you don't have to necessarily go in there and highlight that, but make sure you get it up front. All right, so I'm going to finish dry brush up here on the weapon as well, and then we will move on to some wash. All right, lead Belcher is complete, and what we're going to do next, like I said, is put a little bit of Agrax Earthshade over anything that's metal that is going to stay metal. If you are messy with this stage, hey, that's fine. So am I. Try not to let it pool too much. You want the detail still. You don't want it to just be a brown, soggy mess. But overall, this guy just woke up after however many thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of years, and hasn't taken a bath yet, except in Agrax Earthshade. He took a nice long one. So the reason I'm showing you this is because I forgot that I normally don't show shading, because there's no real wrong way to shade. I'm not even looking right now at what I'm shading. I'm pretty sure I'm still doing okay. I snuck a look. Anyways, I think I was hitting this back piece. So make sure you at least look at the model that you're painting, I guess, when you're shading. That's like the main thing. So there's two main rules. Don't let it pool where you don't want it to pool, and make sure you're actually looking where you're shading. So I'm going to finish up this, which at this point is basically done. So I'll just make you watch me, because we haven't even hit 2 minutes yet for this one clip. But anyways, finish up this portion, and then I'm going to have to let it dry. So, you get to watch it not dry, don't worry. You get to watch the video continue in a few seconds, and I get to turn the fan back on, because it's 10:30 and still probably 85 degrees in my garage, which is why I have a sweatshirt on. But I demanded a little bit of professionalism from myself this time, which is more than I normally ask of myself. All right, I think I'm done. Am I done? Not done yet. I'm done filming now. With the Agrax Earthshade dry and happy, we're now going to go and do a very light but constant dry brush of Runefang Steel. If you have, like I said, if you have Necron Compound, feel free to use Necron Compound. If you've got Stormhost Silver, use some Stormhost Silver. I happen to have Runefang Steel, so I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to be hitting all of the edges, as well as you can actually see there's a raised portion in this blade. This is like what do they call it, a bayonet? It's kind of like a bayonet, although it's more like a axe style. But anyways, if you look really close, and it focuses, and it focuses, and it focuses, there it goes. You can see right here, there's a little bit of a line, and these things always show up way better in person than on camera. So if you want to meet me, and be like, where was that one little Necron thing? Then, I don't know. I'm a fan of chicken wings, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, continue to do all of the parts that are metal, as opposed to meeting me at a chicken place. And we will, this doesn't take very long. This is actually last highlight for the lead belcher. Now, something I had thought about doing, and you can consider doing if you'd like, is after all of the dry brushing is done, because you want to make sure that your metal stays nice and, you know, as you're expecting it, because you just painted it a certain way, you could go back and actually do a clear coat, like a matte or a satin, well, maybe a mix of matte and satin on all of the metal parts, because metal, when it flakes off, is really annoying to repaint, especially if you're doing a lot of dry brushing over a lot of metal that has been shaded. So you'll never get it to look the same. But you're painting a Necron who is supposed to be dirty and nasty, and who cares if it looks dirty and nasty, right? If you knock any paint off of the primer at this point, it's going to be black, so no harm, no foul there. You know, I mean, overall, it's you know, it doesn't need to be neat and perfect and nice. You know, it's not one of my showroom quality. Why did you look at the camera? You got to look at the camera, and then you got to bump the camera. It's not supposed to be pretty. So, anyways, let me finish up doing my dry brush. I am not going to use, like I said, the varnish, because I don't feel like it. It takes way too long to dry, and I'm trying to get through most of this video tonight so that I can have more content by the before the end of the week. Has a hard time getting stuff out when you're also doing lots of extra stuff during the day. So go figure, there's other things to do during this time. So anyways, enjoy dry brushing, and I will finish and move on. With our dry brush of Runefang Steel complete, I'm now going to go back and clean up all of these sections that are supposed to have been black. So that includes things like the gun casing, these lines here. I'm going to see if any of the Runefang Steel got into in between here and there. It may have, may not have, but I'm going to be painting this this cylinder of the flare. What's this called? It's a flare? Something flare. Gauss flare. I remembered without looking at the book that time. Anyways, there's only a couple places I actually hit with this. That would be the piece I'm painting here, the gun casing itself, this piece here, because why not? And I'm going to leave that silver, and I'm going to leave the rest of this all silver. But then there's the icon on his chest, which I'm going to go over and go ahead and make black, Abaddon black. Now, some people will say that the Chaos black and the Abaddon black are different color blacks, and I tend to believe them over myself, because I don't actually know, because most of the time, because of my messy dry brushing, I have to redo all of the black anyway. If you are doing more of a, what do you call it? A layer with your lead belcher and edge highlight. Oh no! Edge highlighting. See, it gets dirty. It doesn't matter though. Edge highlighting with the Runefang Steel. Well, then your black color may not have actually gotten hit, in which case you'll be tempted to just highlight it right away. And to that, I say, yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, actually. So, my official opinion on do you have to paint Abaddon black over Chaos black is if you feel like it, you know, because I think even in my description of most of the videos underneath, I basically say something along the lines of, if you enjoy what you're doing, even if you're not good at it, well, that's time well spent, you know, because you don't have to be good at something to enjoy it. You know, I like cooking. I'm not the best. I like throwing frisbees, and it's a lot of fun. But man, I've no skill whatsoever with that. But it is a lot of fun. And my buddies and I used to play video games. I was terrible at PvP. Actually, one of my worst things that ever happened, not worst things that ever happened, one of the worst games I ever played was, it was World of Warcraft, and I was a shaman. I was fighting a shaman, and I was a warlock. And my buddy died because I'm no good at keeping him alive, but I had killed the shaman's guy. You know, and this is very relevant stuff to Warhammer, I know. But we then fought for a half hour Oh yeah, handle too. Make sure you get the handle of the gun. It's a good thing I started talking about World of Warcraft, because that way I remembered about the handle. Anyways, basically we fought for a half hour to the point where I think my buddy went away, used the restroom, got something to eat. I don't know if he got something to eat at his house or if he went to the store and got it. But in general, he was gone for a long time, and he came back and he's like, "Why am I still dead? What are you doing?" And I was still chasing that stupid shaman around. I think I would be today if the power hadn't gone out. That's not how the story ends, but I needed to interrupt myself. Finish with the Abaddon Black, move on to more important things in life, like Caliban Green. With the Abaddon Black base coat now complete, let's move on to the next portion. So the next I'm going to be doing is Caliban Green, and this portion right here, which there's like a hose that's going from one side to the other. Don't know what it's actually doing, but that's going to be green. So there you go. We are also going to be doing, I think on the, what do you call it, the box art has these as like a silver, but I'm going to go ahead and do these in green because I like the little glowing effect. So that will be that. And Abaddon Black is going to get hit here. It's just going to happen. I'm going to try to be as clean as possible, but me being as clean as possible is, not very. So the other portions we're going to get is all of the recesses of the Gauss Flare weapon here, as well as the little raised portions, which are going to be painted later, but we want a nice base coat that is not black in here. And this is why I say, the black's going to get hit. If you want, you can go back and try to rub some of that back down, or once is all finished, before you, I think before, what I'll do is after I finish the Caliban Green and the Warpstone Glow, I will go back and clean up that portion at least with Abaddon Black again in a really controlled manner, and then it'll get an edge highlight after that. So for right now, I'm not going to concern myself with being too neat. Another portion to get is not with this brush because this is way too big, but get into the icon on his chest, which is right here. See, you just said you weren't going to do it, and you did it anyway. But anyways, that whole thing, just again, to give it a base coat of the green, which you are then going to go over later, or which I will go over later. This isn't how I paint, not how you should be painting. You should be painting however you want. Finally, I'm going to do, like I said, this shoulder here, and this shoulder here, and this shoulder here. He now has 3 shoulders. But no, this shoulder pad to give it a little bit of extra just flavor and color. Oh my gosh, did I just? Yes, I did. All right, that's going to take some cleanup. Oh, okay. Brush control. I'm working on it. Just go in here with some water, dilute it down enough that it'll just look like nobody saw it. So, but yeah, I like to add a little bit of extra color. The more complex a model, the more I'll tend to add. Like the Lich Guard has nice big shoulder pads that get green, and then I think, what is it? The Immortal has the same thing where he gets a little bit of extra on his shoulders. I believe theirs are bigger. I don't know for sure. I might just be saying that, and then I'm going to go back later and wish I hadn't painted them, but that's okay. I like the extra green that even looks, or that on the Immortal how it looks, so they're keeping it. Anyways, so there you go. I'm going to go paint that, and then what I might do differently is, I probably won't. I was going to say I might do a Nuln Oil to darken this down, but once this dries, it actually dries darker, so that'll be fine. Oh, and for anyone who was watching the Canoptic Wraith, where I was saying like the green, I had no idea what was going on. I found another green that I had that I probably painted that where, it came out as a super light green. Turns out it was the Caliban Green spray that I base coated with, or did the prime with. And because I was thinking that the Caliban green paint and spray were about the same, similar to how the Macragge blue are the same paint and same colors, I didn't bother doing a base coat of Caliban green over it. So if you're using the primer, just make sure that after you spray it, it matches the actual green that comes out of the pot, because I was not sorely mistaken, but I was just taken off guard by that. And by the time I had started highlighting everything, I didn't want to go back and start over. So that is not in the video I made. That is the one I showed as a completed example, where I think I actually mentioned that I had no idea where the paint came from. So anyways, I'm gonna do at this point the other shoulder pad, and then maybe a second coat of the green on the gun. Make sure that this is a good foundation of green as well, because we're going to go with Warpstone Glow. And like I said, smaller paintbrush for the icon. Not sure what it is about this Necron Warrior, but my camera just really doesn't like to try and focus on him. I know I've had focusing issues in the past, but this just seems extra blurry. Anyways, so my fears were unfounded. Put my eyebrows into frame because that's important. My fears were unfounded. I thought that putting the shoulder pads in this lovely Caliban green here was going to make it look too much like my Necron Immortals that I painted in the other video. What I forgot, or did not, well, I guess forgetting is not remembering, wordsmith over here, is that, well, yeah, I mean, their shoulders are the same, but look how much bigger the Immortal is anyway. Plus he's got this giant green cable coming out the back. He's got this crazy spinal cord, you know, so realistically, like from the front, you know, it's still quite easy to tell them apart. Maybe from the top end, no. Look at that. Look, focuses right away. Just doesn't want to focus. I don't know what it is. Anyways, so since I now have the Caliban green done, we are basically done with all of our base coats, and we are ready to do some more work with Warpstone green here. So I'm going to put some Warpstone Glow all throughout this energy casing, or whatever this is going to be called. And then we'll come back later and do another highlight on it. But notice I'm not actually worried about the black still, because the black, while I did clean it up in between just for a nice clean, like, turntable look, I'm still not worried about hitting it, because, you know, black is easy to, it goes over everything pretty much. So this tiny little pipe here we will coat, and as well as it's almost like this pipe here is the main one, and then it's stripping off of that part. I don't know, but overall we're going to cover the whole thing. Again, Caliban green was simply a coat for the Warpstone Glow. Warpstone Glow is the main layer, and then Moot Green will be the highlights. So also, same thing here, fill in all of the sections, as well as getting a nice coat on the raised portions, the raised little like domes that are inside here. And then do not forget to hit the chest piece with your tiny brush this time, instead of using that crazy layer brush I was using last time. Chest icon, make sure this gets a nice coat, because we're only going to come back with Moot Green, but even then, you could, if it would focus, you would see it. There you go. Now, instead of doing a layer over the shoulders, I'm just going to edge highlight the shoulders, and then come back with Moot Green and do a fine highlight. Where is my camera? There it is. It's like I'm hovering right over the camera, but I'm looking past it so that I can see it. So I think at some point I might try to change my setup, but right now this was free since I had it all already. So, all right, so there you go. Edge highlight, all of the edges. Imagine that. And this guy has a little bit of battle damage. And while I don't suspect I'm going to come back and do Warpstone Glow, or Moot Green that is in this, maybe just do the outer, yeah, just like that. A little bit of highlight just to show off that dent in his armor a little bit better. So finish up the green, come back, we'll do some more greens. All right, the Warpstone Glow is complete, so now let's move on to Moot Green. And now we're going to put the Moot Green just on the raised portions of the whatever this is. I think it's like, I'm considering it like a power source, energy source. I don't know if that's what it is, but that's what I like to think it is. If anything is so blurry you can't see it. Wow, there we go. That's not gonna work. I'm gonna turn them upside down. I'm gonna paint upside down from now on. Anyways, if anything spills into the down into the lower areas, that's fine. You can always do a little bit of Weight Watcher green into the, like, I think that's a glaze, just to darken it down a little bit, and that might hide your shame. Or the other thing to do is just go back with a little bit of the Warpstone Glow, and then, you know, green it up later again. So that's those two things done. Pretty simple. Makes a nice little standout. I'm gonna do this entire piece here, and the reason for that is I don't know what it is. I've been looking at it and I don't understand it, but I know I want it to be a different color than the main piece. So there you go. That's going to get an entire coat around the entire cylinder of the hose. However, the second portion, I'm going to go with a really, really thin line here and just do almost kind of what I was doing on there's the backpack of the Immortal, and just kind of want to make like a racing strap. I'm going to call it a racing strap. So it's way thicker than I wanted it to be. I'm going to have to go and clean that up. But anyways, something like that, just to give it a little bit of extra color. But I want it to be only down here is where I want most of that Moot Green to be. And I just want it like basically like that. Let me go see if I can clean that up right now so that I can show you what I'm talking about, instead of you having to go back later and try and see in the pictures like, what was he talking about? So drag this just to clean it up where it's separate, or one, keep that obviously still Moot Green, but go in here, make the Moot Green thinner. Anyone see that movie? I didn't, but I know the line because it was a weird commercial, and my wife says it to me a lot, just because, I don't know, the word comes up and that's immediately the thing where like, anyways, Stephen King, I think. So we're thinning out the Warpstone Glow slowly to a point where I'm more happy with it, just at the bottom, just here. Now I can make that stand out even more by using a little bit of Flash Gets yellow later on, but I want to see once this Moot Green dries completely, what it officially looks like. So, all right, that was way longer than I expected to spend on that tiny little part. If you want to do a fine highlight on the shoulders, just do it near the very edges like that. Wow. Then go back and, there we go, take it back off. Be gentle with your highlights. Whisper to them softly. Hello, highlight. How are you today? Don't actually do that. It might be weird. If somebody walked in on you and whispering to your paint, what do you think they would think? Put it in your comments below. I'm kidding. Don't actually do that. All right, there you go. So just, a little bit of an edge highlight just to make that shoulder stand out a little bit more. And now, the main portion, which is the Gauss Flare. What we're going to do is attempt to do an edge highlight on like most of the inside, but not actually getting down into, so I don't want it to be heavy on the black, which again, if you mess up the black, that's fine. You can always go back and clean that up, but but basically just on the inside here, And all of this, you want to draw yourself a little happy little circle here, like this. And you want it to be, I'm going to say, the reason I'm saying mostly on the inside is because if you get too far onto the casing, it just starts to, at least in my 2 cents, makes that casing look really, really busy, really green. So I don't want to go too far outside of it. I just want to, you know, just want to give it a little bit of an edge. So the other part here is to go over each of these circles. You don't have to go down the entire thing, but just make sure that the circle has a decent coverage of moot green. And I am going to come back and probably put a little bit of the Flash Gets Yellow in the very center of this. So you want to make sure you have at least enough moot green to establish a perimeter that Flash Gets can go into. Because if you were just to do something like, you know, tap the dot right there, which is also fine. You could just do that if you wanted to vary a little bit. You know, if you come back over with Flash Gets Yellow on something where you just have a tiny little dot, as soon as you go to cover that with Flash Gets, that dot's gone too. So unless you're really good, and in which case, where is your channel and can I subscribe to you? Because I'm always looking to improve, you know, get a little bit better at painting without much effort. I don't want a whole lot of effort. Anyways, this is the longest section, I promise, because the rest of these have been nice and short. But, you know, I started talking about Stephen King and Whispering to Your Paints. And realistically, I was just trying to fill time while I make little tiny strokes. Maybe I was going to go this way. So there you go. That's most of that front done. So you could still see the warpstone glow in what is like the valley, but then you have the top piece. Now, later on, I may come back with either Lamenter's Yellow, and if I do like the Flash Gets Yellow over the top of this, when you do Lamenter's Yellow, it makes it really stand out. And yeah, here's your taco, Mr. Simpson. Oh my God! Apparently it's late. I don't know. I've been breathing ash most of the day. For anyone stuck in the fires in California, I wish you the best. I don't have it as bad as a lot of other people, and I know my sister in the past and a couple of friends of mine have come really close, just having a really bad time. So anyways, that aside, we will cut this off right here. All right, so the moot green is done. Well, something I didn't mention is a little bit of moot green on just the very far edges of the icon, just to make it stand out a little bit, as well as in the eyes. But I'm probably going to go do the eyes with Flash Gets Yellow. Now, the Flash Gets Yellow, again, a very, very fine tip on a very tiny brush, and just tap it. There you go. That's all you need. I don't even know if that is visible to the camera. I'm going to do it on this one. And then this whole eye, you can come in here with either Waywatcher Green or, again, Lamenter's Yellow to try and just change the tone a little bit if you'd like. So there are the eyes. Very spooky. Okay. I'm going to draw a very thin line because now I feel like I should on... So actually let me explain what I did here. I came back on... Zoom in? Focus, kind of. On this pipe portion here, I ended up going back to Caliban Green, Warpstone Glow, and then Moot Green here, just to have a little bit of a better transition, because I also wanted to be able to, highlight the part where it meets up with Warpstone Glow, and it didn't look right. But now I'm going to take this Moot Green here, and I'm just going to add the thinnest of highlights as I zoom back out. Thinnest of highlights, just like this. Just like a little line down here, just to give it a little bit of forced detail, I'll say. That makes sense, right? So there you go. So now it looks a little bit different than that part, and maybe, no, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Can't make me. I was thinking maybe I put a line here, so just in like a dot right there, but I'm not going to. What I am going to do is I'm going to add now my little dots of Flash Gets Yellow just at the very tops of where whatever these raised portions are. Now I'm going to try and not go over all of the Moot Green. and I might fail in some cases, but that's okay. So there you go, just a couple little dots just to make them stand out that much more. I'm not going to do any other highlighting in there, and then obviously you come back here and you do the dots here as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so there you go. So that's the entire Flash Gets Yellow stage done. We are now going to, I think, go straight into the portion of Eshin Gray. Eshin Gray is going to be for highlighting all of the black portions. So first one I like to do is this, is the chest piece back here, or the icon on the chest, the raised top and sides, and then obviously pretty much everywhere on the gun is going to get a little bit of Eshin Gray. This, I think, is still my least favorite highlight of them all, because for some reason, after all is said and done, it just does not seem to show up at all. But that's okay, because if I didn't do it, then I would really notice that it wasn't there. But for some reason, I'll do it, and it won't be able to see it, and I'll be fine with that, just because I know I would have done it, so, or I know I already had completed it. Have completed it. All right, so top, bottom of this cylinder, bottom here, highlight the damage there. You know, just go around, pick out all the edges, because that's an edge highlight. After this, there's one more step to do aside from the terrain. The terrain, I'll do my normal, I think it's Astro Granite, just brown down here with the Praxity white dry brush over the top of it. I'll go over this boulder here with the texture paint. I'm not going to bother painting it anything first. But so one fun portion is, I forgot it way over there. Hang on, I got to roll away. So while I've been doing this Necron Warrior, because Necron Warrior is really easy, I've also been painting up these impossibly cute little scarabs. I love the new look of the scarabs. I don't have any close enough to reach of the old ones, but you know, they were cool. But I love that they brought the legs out further and they changed the bodies around us. They gave them new life. Now looking at them, I don't know if you'll be able to tell this, but they were painted in the same manner as the greens on the Necron Warrior, which is the Caliban green, the Warpstone glow, the Moot green, and then the Flash Gets Yellow for a super high highlight. But the difference on these scarabs is that 3 of them have Waywatcher green glaze, and 4 of them have Lamenter's yellow. Now you can probably guess which one, but you can see they really are so close after the glaze. And this is 1 coat of glaze. This is not 2. The more coats of glaze you go, obviously, the more it's going to tint it that color. But the what I'm trying to point out here is that the definition, or you what do you call it? You blend the colors well together with a glaze, and whether you choose Waywatcher green or whether you choose Lamenter's yellow, it's going to look very similar. Now I can tell you, I'm going to use Lamenter's yellow on my stuff, and that is this guy, this guy, this guy, and that guy. Whereas these 3 here in this triangle, these 3 larger ones, are the Waywatcher green. Again, either one you use is going to look great. So it may come down to which one you have on hand. I didn't have Lamenter's yellow for a really long time, so I used Waywatcher green. It looks good no matter what. All right, so I'm going to go put the rest of my Eshin Gray highlights on here. I will probably end up putting the texture paint, which again, Astro Granite, throw that on there. Maybe I'll do a step for that. I'll do the Lamenter's yellow over the, and by the way, just over this gun portion. I'm not going to put it anywhere else. So it'll just be Lamenter's here and there on the back. And then I'll come back, do a little bit of texture painting. Yeah, that'll be it. I think I finished this one faster than I thought I would. So hooray for me. And hooray for you, because then it's about another 40 minutes. So there you go. Eshin Gray is now completed. And I went ahead and changed my mind once again on the centerpiece right here. And I took the Caliban green out of it because Caliban green up against the black was just, it was too close of a color. So I went back, did Warpstone Glow again, Moot Green on the edge, and then a little bit of Moot Green still right here. So I'm happier with it now, and I'm happy to the point where I can just leave it alone and not touch it. So also went ahead and did the basing in the Astrogranite. There's two types of Astrogranite. One is dust and one is just Astrogranite. They look like they're slightly different colors, but I end up mixing them both together. The Astrogranite dunes or something like that, whatever. The Astrogranite goes on smoother. The other one has more chunks in it. Anyways. Or maybe perhaps that's just how my bottles came out. So now I'm using Praxity White, and I'm just going to do a very light dry brushing of the Astrogranite just to give it a little bit of texture, so you can see the texture a little bit, and you know, just to make it a little more interesting than just a plain gray. I do really like how the these guys look against the gray, and you know, I in the past have thrown what do you call it? Some like crystals and whatnot on here, but I'm not going to do that for these guys. Now I have too much paint on here. It's supposed to be a dry brush. There we go. So, but what I'm going to do before, because this is the last step before I do a nice 360 shot, and then, you know, give you my closing thoughts. So what I want to do before all that, because then I have to move the camera, and that just takes at least 3 minutes, and I don't want to do that right now. I'm just too lazy. What? There, done. Close enough. I did want to show you without too much effort here. So these are the two guys, and so this is one I previously painted, and I had no problem with it. I liked how it looked. However, I mean, I just think they did a really good job with the new sculpt. I like the weapon a lot more. The body itself looks less, I don't know. I just think they did a good job. You could just chalk it up to, I just think it looks better. And of course, I think I did a better job painting it this time than I did last time. And then of course, the second one, again, are my little Scarab buddies here, which I really, really like the look of. The new ones. The old ones were not bad, but they didn't, you know, I had nothing really excited me about these. They just, like, actually my wife came in and she said they kind of look like spaceships. And so I'm like, yeah, whereas these actually look like little beetle guys. Plus I do like the addition of the larger portion where you can give it a little more color. So, so far so good on the Indomitus box. I really enjoy what they've done, but let me get some black around the rim here, put it over there, have them spin around in circles a little bit, and then we'll go to the close. And so here we are once again at the end of the Rosham Joe Paints episode. Really liked this model. I enjoy painting Necrons because they're something simple. I actually started painting them in general because I had been painting so many other things that I felt were too complicated, and I wanted something simple. So Sautekh Dynasty, a little bit of green, a little bit of silver, and seemed pretty easy. Then I started painting things like Lichguard and the new guy that I can't remember the name of, but basically all the new models that started coming out got me excited to paint them, but then we were painting things that were complicated. So it's always nice to be able to go back and paint something simple like a warrior. And you know, you can get a great result even with just putting a little bit of detail into it. I know that some people are able to speed paint these in like minutes. That's not me, but you know, more power to you, because those guys are also the ones putting these things on the table and enjoying their time. So if you made it this far, once again, thank you for watching, and I look forward to putting out more content. It's going to be Necrons and Fulminators for the foreseeable future as I complete this Indomitus box. But we'll be eventually looking at painting things like the, I've got stuff from Age of Sigmar. I've got, I don't know if anyone can see it, but I've got that repulsor way up there that I'm still looking to paint. Probably not making a video on that. Because I'm halfway through painting it already. So, you know, I don't want to start halfway through. Then you guys would only get like a 45-minute video, which is what I'm aiming for on this one. And I don't know if I made it. We'll see. Anyways, again, made it this far. Thank you very much. And like, subscribe, share with your friends, with random people on the street that you don't know. Well, maybe not. Be safe. All right. See you next time.